This video training, it's about the different components of optometry. And so let's get right into it. Optometry is comprised of three distinct areas, namely academic, which revolves or involves research, learning, and the scope of practice of optometry. Phase number 2, clinical, which entails problem identification and solving, professional skills development, and of course, very, very important, patient education. And then the final component is business, which revolves around exceeding turnover, practice management, and of course, business development. For an optometric practice to experience massive success and exponential growth sales, all three components need to work cohesively and efficiently with one another. The above simply means that all employees within the optometric practice needs to know and understand when each of these areas are at play. With the ever-changing economic climate in the world, many optometric practices are finding it very difficult to maintain the level of success attained in the past, let alone grow their business to the next level. The question then is, what role can you play as an employee within these three areas of optometry? And so let's look at the breakdown and give examples of that particular role pertaining to these components. The academic, or what we would refer to as the information phase. This is the phase that involves all the information needed by the business before a consumer even walks into the practice. It is the knowledge that every team player needs to have readily available at their disposal to explain what the consumer needs are when that consumer walks into the practice. It is the kind of information that immediately sets the business apart without any marketing or selling taking place. The three components of the academic phase involve the following. Number 1, research. This is very, very interesting, and you'll be surprised how it actually fits into the practice. What do we mean by research? On a daily basis, consumers that are walking into optometric practices are either complaining or querying the following. A person will walk in and say, how much does it cost to get my eyes examined, right? What do most optometric practices tend to do? They will end up saying, is it cash or medical aid? Why do we do that? That is such a turn-off. What value or benefit is it to the optometric practice or to that particular individual that is asking that question? If the price of the eye test, for example, is 500 rands, instead of just saying, is it cash or medical aid, and then the person then says cash, or then you just say 500 rand and you leave it at that, or if they say medical aid, then you say it depends on which medical aid you are on. That's the wrong way for you to go about that particular answering of that question. What you need to be doing is to say, sir, the price of the eye test, the cash price, starts from 500 rands, because the initial examination procedures involve the following. And so as the optometrist is examining your eye, they might pick up problems pertaining to your vision that might require further testing. But the standard basic price of the examination is 500 rand. Sir, are you on a medical aid? Yes, I'm on a medical aid. Which medical aid are you on? The Tenkos is going to say to you, I'm on this particular medical aid. As an employee, yes, there are multiple medical aids, correct? However, on a day-to-day basis, your practice is dealing with at least top 5 of the most common ones that you guys see in your area. So it's very, very important that of the 20 medical aids that you're seeing, for example, the top 5, you need to be fully confident and aware of how the pricing in those medical aids works. It's unacceptable for you to be dealing with something on a day-to-day basis and not have an idea that, okay, out of these top 5 medical aids, this one pays this much for the eye examination, frame, lenses, extras works like this, savings options work like this. What are the different options or benefit options that are available on that medical aid? So it's very, very important for you to know those different components, so that when that individual says to you, I'm on this medical aid, and it's one of the ones that is common that you're using in your practice, then you've got the confidence to say, oh, this is how your medical aid works. And then you mention the information. So, and very, very important, whether it is cash or medical aid, make sure that you are emphasizing on the importance of the eye test, what is going to be taking place in the examination, and probe the patient further. Don't just answer the question and leave it at that. Say, when was the last time you had your eyes examined? He'll let you know, it's been a while. what specific problem are you currently experiencing that led you to come into the practice and inquire about the price of the eye test? I spend a lot of time in front of a computer, but I don't think there's really a problem, but sometimes I feel like my eyes are irritated. You know what? Over the last couple of weeks or months, we have actually seen an increase of people coming in with the exact same problem. And so when we book you for the eye examination, in actual fact, can we schedule you today for an eye examination? And then you already know that there's a spot available that Nkosi can be able to be seen at, or the earliest that you possibly can. And you telling him that when we examine the eyes, we're asking him a whole list of questions pertaining to his visual health. We then do a whole lot of screening tests that give us information about the current status of his mind. He goes in with the optometrist. The optometrist will perform further testing and exams in order to get a diagnosis. That diagnosis will reveal far more than what he even complained about in most cases. And then a potential management solution will be recommended. If glasses is what he will need, that will be revealed by the examination procedures and the diagnosis. So you go into detail. If you're working in a practice that has got very fancy equipment that is doing a lot of things from a diagnostic point of view that a lot of practices don't have, mention those components of the equipment that you have. Say, we're checking your eyes using this machine. We're going to use this machine to check the following. The optometrist is going to use this machine to check the following. Mention that because you want to inspire confidence that this person walked into the right practice. Why is that important? Let's say your practice is in a strip mall or shopping center or in an area where there's a lot of optometrists that are populated in that particular area. That person is going around asking the same question to 4 or 5 other optometric practices. And so it's very, very important that when they come into your practice, you are giving them the necessary information that they need in order to make an informed decision. So that's what's going to set you apart. That's what we mean by research. If you have the information readily available, you are able then to provide it to the patient with ease, with confidence. And they get that trust that, oh, okay, I actually need an eye examination because I realize that if I don't do the examination, this is what's going to happen. If I don't test my eyes, this is the impact it's going to have on my vision. So it's very, very important that you answer those questions with ease adequately. So ask the optometrist that you're working for or that you're working with that what is it that is involved in the examination room? What is the patient journey? What is the sales journey of a patient or a consumer that walks into the optometric practice? You need to know the processes. If a person presents with dry eye complaints, what is the route that you're taking in the optometric examination room? If it's contact lenses related, if it's pathology related, whatever it is, what is that journey from start to finish that you are following, optometrist, so that I can know as a consultant that, oh, if a person mentions this, this is what I need to say. If a person mentions this, this is what I need to say. For example, a person may walk in, Lerato, can I get a quotation on the following? Single vision, anti-reflective coat. You then have to, before you just giving them a quotation and say, look, we first have to test your eyes. You need to firstly know your pricing. If Lerato is already wearing glasses and they're asking you for a quotation on a pair of glasses, that means Lerato already knows what's going on with her vision, right? So you ask them, Lerato, I can see there's a anti-reflective coating on your glasses. Was it your first time wearing the anti-reflective coating? Lerato is going to say, yes. Lerato, were you happy with that anti-reflective coating? Yeah, in the beginning I was, but I realized that it's not actually doing that which I thought they said it would do. Lerato, I'm not sure if you're aware, there are different types of anti-reflective coatings. There is a basic option, intermediate, and a more advanced option. And I'm just an eyewear consultant. I'm not technically clued up, but I know that sometimes people make the mistake of going with the cheapest or least expensive coating for affordability purposes, but then that coating was different from what they actually needed. So when you go in with the optometrist, please do mention that to them so that they can profile you and show you the different anti-reflective coatings that are existing. Currently here in our practice, we work with these anti-reflective coatings, and what I've noticed is that this one, the clinical features and benefits of this one is as follows, the clinical features and benefits of this one is that follows, and so forth. The frame, Lerato, that you're wearing, are you comfortable? You wear your glasses the whole day? Yes, I do. Are you comfortable with those frames? Do you find that they're not slipping off during the day? They're not feeling heavy? Do you have one pair of glass? Have you found you're probing that individual errato to get as much information as you possibly can, so that when you're giving out that quotation, you're not restricting yourself to pricing. Why is that important? Lerato could have spent 1,500 Rand on the current pair of glasses that she walked in with, right? However, the management that Lerato requires might actually be costing 3,500 Rand, simply because you're now going to be giving her, or the optometrist is going to be prescribing what she was supposed to have gotten the first time around. And so it's very, very important that you know your products, you know your pricing, and you know that you can probe Lerato as much as possible in order for you to make the quotation that will be specific to whichever scenario the diagnosis will present itself in. So don't say single vision with eye examination, it costs this much, whereas you don't know what's going to happen in the examination room. So when you give the price, make sure that the price is attached with potential scenarios, which are based on the information you have gotten or received from probing Lerato. Very, very important that we don't just give out numbers or prices without understanding patient needs. Very, very important that once you have an understanding of what is it that this person is wearing their glasses for, what are their visual needs, what are their lifestyle needs, what is their journey with glasses. Very, very important that you have you know and you're confident that, wait a minute, Lerato has been wearing glasses for the last 10 years, and yet on the 10th pair, she's not happy with the coating. There's a problem. That means there's a great opportunity for you as the optometric consultant or the practice to upgrade Lerato's current management eyewear solution. So you need to know the different scenarios. And so as a practice, spend regular time dealing and profiling the different scenarios that might exist when a person walks in asking for a quotation on a pair of multifocals. What was the experience before? Get as much information as possible in order for you to give them information that they can make an informed decision pertaining to the quotation, because that person is asking that price because they're asking from another practice as well. So very, very important. Next, if a person comes in and says, I sit in front of a computer the whole day and I think it has got an impact on my eyes, you need to know as a consultant or an employee in the practice, what is digital eye syndrome? What are the different complications that are associated with digital eye syndrome, especially now in this 21st century that we are all finding ourselves in? A lot of people are spending time in front of their cell phones. A lot of time people are in front of computers and all of that. And so you need to know that for a person who is sitting in front of a computer the whole day, what are the potential complaints that are associated with being on a digital device? So you need to then say, okay, so do you find yourself experiencing this? Oh, yes, I do. So what we can definitely do is book you for an appointment right now or whatever, as soon as the time is available. And one of the things that we're going to have to then take into consideration is that we need to then most probably will end up, if there is a visual problem associated with the comfort problem. Remember, the whole thing about vision is that you need to have clear and comfortable vision. A lot of people can see clearly, but they're not seeing comfortably, sir. And so if glasses is the resultant management solution that will be recommended based on the diagnosis, it's very, very important that the necessary coating will be put on your glasses that can help you with your vision when you're sitting in front of the computer. And there are different coatings. So you already introduced that component right at the beginning, so that when the person goes in with the optometrist, you already laid the foundation that they might end up needing a pair of glasses. And you already, if you know that there's a basic option, a mid, intermediate, and an advanced option, already mention the advanced anti-reflective coating at that stage already, even before you do the pre-screening test. So while that person is filling in the forms and you're getting more information about them, tell them that, look, we've got different coatings and this is the one that best works for people that are sitting in front of a computer the way you have described. So, and so when you go in with the optometrist, please do mention that you've got a problem with light, glare, mention those things. because the optometrist then will be able to help guide you in terms of what will be the best management solution. So those are the type of conversations as an employee you need to be having with your patient. Not just be saying, yes, sir, you're going to need anti-reflective coating. There's multiple different types of anti-reflective coating. But when you have explained, or when you've gotten information in terms of what digital eye strain complaints does this individual have, then you know that the basic anti-reflective coating, for example, might not solve this person's problems based on the amount of digital device that he's or she is exposed to, right? So then you mentioned the most expensive one, which the more expensive it is, the more it can actually be doing, right? So highlight that, make reference to that from the onset, so that when it comes later on to the pricing now, you have not shot yourself in the foot by having mentioned the most basic anti-reflective coating, and then you mention the price of that coating, but the person actually needs a more advanced one. So why are you talking basic products when you don't even know what the diagnosis is going to reveal? So lay the foundation on best possible scenario, so that even if it changes, the foundation is there. It's easier to bring someone from a higher price to a lower price than for you to bring someone from a lower price to a higher price. So always think about that. And what I mean about price, it's not about the price, it's about the product that that individual needs. So always put the best possible product before you put the least beneficial product. Always do that. Next, ever since I've been wearing glasses, my book has fell. I put this book it's very important. It's a practical guide for optometric staff. And so if you haven't received this book, if you haven't purchased this book, it's a book that we highly recommend for you. It's fantastic. It's everything that you need to know as a eyewear consultant, as an employee within the optometric practice. It will help you become a catalyst in the environment that you're working in. It's going to take you from here to here. If you're already operating at this level, it's going to help you keep that momentum, help you maintain peak performance levels in the optometric practice that you are working in. And most importantly, it can help you carve out your optometric career as an eyewear consultant and become one of the best eyewear consultants. It's a very easy to read book, and there are sections in the book that are actually empty where you can make your own personal notes. So we detailed as much information as we possibly can in this book. So do get in touch with us, but do get this book. All right, other things would be, ever since I've been wearing spectacles, my vision has gotten worse. You need to know what do you do and say to that individual when they present with that particular scenario. My eyes are constantly red, itchy, watery, and I can't stand it anymore. So you are already picking up from that this might be associated with dry eye related complaints. You need to know when a person complains of that. Don't just say, oh, sir, just go and get eye drops across the practice at the chemist. It doesn't work like that. You need to explain to the patient that, sir, the complaint that you are complaining about right now, or the problem that you're complaining about, could either be associated with a wide range of problems or conditions, right? There's dry eye, there's a whole lot of things. You might be straining your eyes when you see. So we need to book your appointment so that we can determine, is this just purely dry eye related, or what are the associated causes pertaining to this? And so you lay the foundation that this person needs to have their eyes tested with urgency so that this problem can be dealt with. And highlight that so sometimes, most of the time actually, people tend to treat the symptoms and not treat the cause. And so the examination helps us identify what the potential cause is so that we can be able to manage the cause of the problem and not just the symptom. So if we don't book you for an appointment, you will not know what is actually causing your appointment. And so I understand you want to get eye drops, but those eye drops might not actually be helping you. So let's first get you into the examination room to have your eyes examined, so that whatever solution that we're coming up with, whether it be glasses, contact lenses, or any other thing, even eye drops, at least then we know that you've got the best possible management solution based on the complaint and the problem that you are having. And so those are the things that you need to be communicating with the patient. And you have to be confident. If you are doubting yourself, person will going to pick up that, and they're going to have confidence and trust that you know what you're doing. And so that's why I'm saying that this is the research phase. This is the information that every employee in the practice needs to be readily aware of and have confidence of the information that they need to give to the patient. Okay, so let's move on. Another great example actually, it will be, I'm struggling to see clearly at night while I'm driving. Is there anything that can be done? Of course. The same example with the anti-reflective coating, you need to know what products are available, what solutions are available for people that are struggling to see when they're driving. How do you probe the individual? So you and the optometric team needs to sit down and say, look, if someone complains of the following, this is what we need to be saying to this particular individual pertaining to this problem. And that's how you go about dealing with that particular individual. I get a headache after reading or concentrating after a period of time. So your headache, when does it start? How long is it? How long does it last? Probe. So there's a baseline of information or questions that you need to be having readily available for the different scenarios that may present yourself. So that if you know this person presents with this, I need to ask the following. They present with this, I need to ask the following. And here's the thing, no one is going to teach you that. You as an employee need to go out of your way to go and get the information. That's the logical thing to do. You go out of your way to say, okay, we see this type of problems on a regular basis. Okay, what is the questions that I need to ask for that one, for that one, for that one? And the optometrist in the optometric test room, what is he or she doing if this is a problem, if that is the problem? What information do I need to be relaying to patients that are seeing me before they're seeing the optometrist? And when they leave that examination room and I get given the file, what are some of the things that, if a optometrist is written here, anti-reflective coating, and they mention whatever, this is what the optometrist would have actually discussed with the patient, so that I then know that, oh, okay, this person complained of a headache, this is what optometrist did, and this is the management solution. And when I'm choosing frames and all of that, we then know, so I see the optometrist here mention this thing, and it's related to the headaches that you kept on complaining about earlier on to me. And so this product is going to actually help you with your headaches. You see, that's how you tie it back in. It's very, very important that you communicate effectively and efficiently with your patients that you're seeing. And so the second part of the academic phase is the learning. There's a whole lot of technological advancements, new information that is always going to be coming out pertaining to pathology, for example, hypertension, diabetes. What is the latest that is taking place in these common eye-related conditions or systemic conditions that are related with the eye? You need to be aware that, okay, 5 years ago, this is what was happening with diabetes, hypertension, cholesterol, arthritis, pregnancy, all of that. So you need to be in a position where you know how to communicate that information with the patient. So if a patient comes and it's on the file, you get, the optometrist makes notes, you need to be able to pick up that, oh, okay, this person is pregnant. If you are pregnant, what's the protocol do we follow? And has it changed from 5 years ago? So that's the new information that you need to be having readily available to be able to communicate more effectively with the patient. Technological advancements. There's about an app for just about anything these days. And what's happening currently is that consumers have immediate access to these apps. And so when they do make the appointment with optometric practice, they've already researched some form of information pertaining to what they're experiencing. So the patient or the consumer cannot know more than the optometric practice. It's very, very important that you know what is the latest with everything. What is the what is the visual impact of people being on social media all the time? What is the digital impact of people spending 16 hours on a digital device the whole day? Does it have an impact on the eye? A 40-year-old who's sitting in front of a computer for 16 hours per day versus an 18-year-old, what is the difference? That is information that you need to go out of your way and get as an employee. No one is going to teach you that. You have to go out of your way to have that information. When you have received the information, then you engage in your optometry team to say, okay, I read about this. What does it mean? How does it affect the patient? And what do we actually do to solve this problem? That's very, very important that you have this information readily available in order to communicate more effectively with the patient. Trends, for example, frames, lenses, contact lenses, product knowledge is very, very important for every staff member to know. Why? When you know what the consumer is using, you'll be in a better position to upgrade them to the necessary product that they actually need pertaining to their vision. It's completely unacceptable for you to be working in an optometry practice for longer than 6 months and not be aware of the different products that are commonly used in the practice that you're working for. So you need to constantly learn what is this product that we are constantly prescribing. What are the clinical features and benefits of this product as compared to that product? What value do patients have when they purchase this product? How do they experience this product? What are the drawbacks of this product? When a person uses this product 6 months later and they start complaining, what could have been the possible reasons for them to be complaining about that thing? This brand compared to that brand, what are the differences pertaining to contact lenses? Why do we sell this brand in our practice as opposed to that brand? It is your responsibility as a consultant or an employee to find that information, to know that information from the optometric team, so that you can communicate more effectively with the consumer. Because when you know your product, it enables you to know what is best suited for that particular individual pertaining to product. You will know that, okay, David has been wearing this product, but this is what David has been experiencing with this product and they're not happy with it. This is how we can go about ensuring that David has the right product and what I need to be communicating with David in him getting the necessary product. And lastly, it is the scope of practice. And so it's very, very important that you understand the difference between a dispenser, what they're functioning in, optometrist, what they need to be doing, and ophthalmologist and what they are doing. And so there's a whole lot of things that are associated with ethics and regulations that are affecting the optometric landscape, which is very, very important that you know. You need to know that in our optometric practice that we are working in, or that I'm working in, why do we do what we do? Why don't we do that? Why don't we do that? What are we allowed to do? All the ethical or laws that are affecting optometric practices, what are they? Are we allowed to, how advertising, patient, the Protection of Personal Information Act, all these different acts that are affecting eye care, you need to know them. No one is going to teach you those things. By the way, they are actually in the book. So there's a chapter dedicated in the book pertaining to ethics and the different laws that are impacting optometric industry and optometric practices. So do yourself a favor, get the book. All the information is detailed adequately enough in that. All right, then let's wrap this up. I love it now we started with the clinical academic or information phase. It now brings us to the second component, which is the clinical phase, or what we sometimes refer to as the execution phase. The clinical phase entails all the data that the optometrist needs to have readily available in the test room. Consultation time is very precious, and competence regarding how eye examinations are conducted greatly influences the behavior of consumers. Very, very important. And so in this phase, an opportunity to establish and build a trust relationship between the optometrist and the consumer exists right here. And missing it will cost the business a potential client. And so the optometrist has a different role, and the employees in the optometric practice have a different role. What is that role? During this phase, the optometrist focuses on the following components, namely problem identification and solving, professional skills development, and of course, patient education. However, you must always remember the following about the consumer. You need to prioritize them, provide them with quality products, and they will be prepared to purchase them at the necessary price. A worthwhile experience leads to a worthwhile expenditure. And so, here's the thing. Your role then in the optometric practice is that you need to have already checked the benefits. The possible quotations outlined if frames and lenses are pre-selected prior to the eye examination. You need to know the history of that individual prior to them coming to this particular eye examination appointment. So you need to know that, okay, whilst the optometrist is busy, what's going to be happening if the optometrist gives me the file of the patient, and now I'm giving the file, am I the one who's going to be choosing frames? And if I'm the one choosing frames and discussing pricing with them, what information would the optometrist have had given them already? If the optometrist has already discussed product selection, frames and everything, and they've clearly highlighted on the card that I'm getting, what is it that I need to reiterate? Is there a section where the optometrist is highlighting that which I need to be re-emphasizing to the patient? If it's a patient who has been coming to the practice for the last 10, 15 years. And you should be in a position where you know, oh, Meneer Breitenbach always uses the following products. And so you need to already know that, oh, okay, we always give this to Mr. Breitenbach. Is Mr. Breitenbach happy with the glasses that he's always getting? Is he willing to upgrade the frame because we've got new technology, better frames? Is he willing to upgrade? Oh, he always spends this amount of money and he never goes beyond what the medical aid pays for. Don't complicate matters. Stick with that unless there's a need for us to upgrade him. And so you need to know that, okay, Mr. Breitenbach likes these type of frames. Why didn't you take out the frames that he normally likes already whilst he was studying the examination room? So that when he comes out, he knows, or you know that, oh, okay, he always goes for this, or this type of stuff. So we're going to put that before him. Those are some of the things that you need to be aware of when you're dealing with a patient. And so the final phase is the business or the sales phase. And so in this phase, it's all about your numbers. You need to know your numbers. You need to know how to deal with sales. You need to know that if an optometrist has prescribed multifocals with anti-reflective coatings and various tints on it, that if that's the amount that you're getting, how does it tie back into the overall target or financial target of the practice? Very, very important that you know that this activity that we do when we dispensing and prescribing spectacles, contact lenses, or any other management solution, this is how it affects the actual running of the practice. If we've got a target of 300,000 rands a month, and how many patients do we need to be seeing per day to get to that number? You need to know that it's not only the responsibility of the optometric team. You need to know that, wait a minute, this is how I'm contributing to the target on a day-to-day basis. When I'm negotiating with someone pertaining to their frames, medical aid pays for this, they can only afford this. And you are the one who now has to communicate the shortfall with the patient. What is the strategy? What do you communicate? How do you communicate? You need to know that that is the sales phase. So you need to know your numbers. You need to know how to sell products without sounding like you are sales pitching. And the easiest way to do that is when you're communicating value. So it's very, very important that you sit down with your optometric team and they need to tell you that this is the value that people are getting from our products. This is the value that this product is giving to this 30-year-old, 50-year-old, 60-year-old. This is what a high-income earner is expecting from a product. This is what a middle-income earning individual is expecting from a product. This is the different consumer purchasing decisions. And so when I communicate products and pricing with them, I must take into consideration what's going to influence their consumer purchasing decisions. Very, very important that you know your numbers, you know your product, and you know how people are going to experience the products that you're prescribing. And obviously, you need to know that, okay, if the glasses are costing 8,000 rands, the medical aid only pays 3,000 rands, how do I negotiate? How do I convince the patient on that 5,000 rand difference that is the shortfall? How are they going to be paying it? What are the different payment options readily available in the practice for them to take advantage of? So you need to constantly train yourself to be more confident and comfortable in communicating those different scenarios. If the optometrist did everything and they just give you the file for you to discuss the pricing, what if the optometrist didn't write certain information that you need in order to make the conversation clearer to the patient? You need to make sure that you go back to the optometrist and make sure that they train you well enough on the different scenarios that if they've written this on the test card, this is what you need to be saying to the patient. If they've written this is what they would have discussed with the patient. If they didn't write anything else that is important and the patient's asking you about it, what do you do? If patient says, no, I'll just go with a pair of single vision glasses for reading, but the optometrist prescribed multifocals with all the different coatings and tints, and now the patient says, no, I just want single vision. How do you challenge or deal with that objection? So it's very, very important that as a practice, you're constantly training yourselves regularly on that front. And so those are the three components pertaining to optometric practices. It's the academic phase, the clinical phase, and the business phase. All three are very, very important and they need to work cohesively with one another. And so throughout this training course, you will find different times throughout the training course where we will make reference to these different phases that we have just referred to in optometric practices.